My family cut me out of Christmas, so I evicted them from the beach house I paid for. Hi, I'm Cole, 33, and 5 weeks ago, my sister told me I wasn't invited to the family Christmas vacation at a beach house I own. So I canceled their booking, ruined their entire holiday, and reminded everyone exactly who they were messing with. I was in my kitchen, making espresso like a civilized adult, when my sister, Marissa, dropped the news like it was no big deal. You're not coming to Cancun for Christmas. Not a question. A statement. Just like that. My parents were there too. My mom stared into her coffee like she was looking for divine intervention. Dad suddenly got very interested in the grout between the floor tiles. And her husband, Evan, leaned back on one of my bar stools like he owned the place. We already booked everything, Marissa added, like I was some distant cousin instead of her younger brother. I blinked once. You booked Christmas without me? We didn't book it, Evan said with this smug little grin. We locked it in. The beach house only fits 8, and with my parents coming, well, that's when the final puzzle piece clicked into place. They booked my beach house. I own a 5-bedroom stunner in Puerto Aventuras, just south of Cancun. Bought it 3 years ago for $720,000 and sunk another $200,000 into upgrades. Infinity pool, top-of-the-line appliances, full smart home integration. I handpicked every tile, every fixture. I even laid the patio stone myself with a buddy one weekend. They knew about it. Hell, Marissa once bragged about it to her book club like she had found it. I narrowed my eyes. Which house exactly? Marissa gave a little wave like she was swatting a mosquito. Something Evan found online. Great reviews, close to the beach. It's perfect. She looked proud of herself, like this was her big hostess moment. Evan chimed in again. The owners were super chill. Even gave us a family discount. I asked for the address. She rolled her eyes and rattled it off. My house. Casa Azul. The name I picked. The listing Evan had messaged about with all these sweet little lies. We're a tight-knit family celebrating a special Christmas, hoping to make lifelong memories. He even asked if we had child gates for the stairs. They don't have kids. I pulled up my property management app. Sure enough, December 22nd to 29th. Booked under Evan's name. I leaned back real slow. Nice house, I said casually. Hope you guys enjoy it. They smiled, not realizing they just set off a full-scale psychological war. Because here's the thing about me, I don't yell. I don't throw fits. I plan. And I don't forget when people decide they're better off without me. Especially when they try to do it using my money, my house, and then expect me to smile and move on. Not this time. I waited until they left, Marissa with a little air kiss, Mom whispering something about how I should take a break this year, Dad giving me the classic. You're better off. Shoulder squeeze, and the second their Uber pulled away, I got to work. First call, Julian, my property manager. Hey Cole. What's up? Cancel the Christmas booking for Casa Azul. Silence. You serious? Dead serious. Dude, that's $4,680 already paid, and it's peak season. We can't rebook that week. We'll eat the loss. No, we won't. I'm using it myself. That gave him pause. I never stayed in my own places during the holidays. I usually spent them with my family, at least until now. Julian hesitated. Want me to send them the standard cancellation notice? Nope. Forward me everything. Inquiry emails, payment info. I'll handle it. You got it. Anything else? Yeah. Do me a favor. How'd they find the listing? More typing. Vacation Rentals Mexico. Evan submitted the inquiry himself. Said it was a special occasion, begged for a discount, promised to leave a glowing review. Kids? Said they had 2. They don't? I hung up and pulled open the emails Julian had just forwarded. There it was, Evan's entire humble brag booking request, all polished like a Hallmark ad. Our family is thrilled to celebrate the holidays in your beautiful home. He even asked if the wine fridge would be stocked. I grinned. I opened a fresh email draft. To Evan. I'm at Cargus Freight. Com. From Casa Azul Property Management. Subject, cancellation notice. Dear Mr. Mendoza. We regret to inform you that your upcoming reservation at Casa Azul, December 22nd to 29th, has been cancelled due to owner occupancy. Your full deposit has been refunded. We apologize for the inconvenience. Warm regards. Casa Azul Management. I hit send. Then I blocked their emails. And their numbers. 4 days went by. Silence. Which was impressive. Day 5, the screaming began. 8 missed calls from Marissa. 3 from Evan. 1 from my dad, just the words. Call me. Which I didn't. Their voicemails were a work of art, confusion, then rage, then desperation. Evan's voice cracked as he yelled about breach of contract, reputational damage, his parents' non-refundable flights. Marissa's was pure fury and betrayal, with a dramatic, "You've ruined everything!" Mom chimed in last, whimpering about how they were stuck and how could I be so cruel. Cruel? Cruel is excluding your brother from Christmas, in a house he bought. I poured myself a drink and waited. Because I knew the next part was coming. The confrontation. Evan called again. I answered this time, purely for the entertainment value. "Cole," he snapped the moment I picked up. "What the hell is going on?" "Hey, Evan. Happy holidays. Don't do that. Your property manager canceled our booking. Said the owner needs the house. That's you, isn't it?" I swirled the ice in my glass. "Sure is. You can't do this. We had a contract." I laughed. "You had a short-term rental agreement with an owner-occupancy clause. Which, by the way, you triggered the moment you tried to sneak in a fake family to score a discount." He actually stuttered. That's not the point. It's exactly the point. You booked my house, lied to get it cheaper, excluded me from the trip, and now you want me to feel guilty?" "Marissa's devastated," he said. "Your mother's been crying for 2 days. My parents already bought their flights. You're blowing up the whole family Christmas over a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding? You weren't going to use the house. And you weren't going to tell me you were using mine." He fell quiet. I kept going. "Tell me something, Evan. What was the plan? Move in, throw up a Christmas tree, let my parents act like guests in the house I paid for while I sat at home watching reruns? That's not fair." "No, what's not fair is you and Marissa hijacking my property and treating me like an afterthought. What's not fair is me being the only person in this family who gets penalized for having my life together." He tried again. Okay, look, maybe we messed up. But you could help fix it." "Help how?" "You know people. Make some calls. Find us another place." I leaned back, grinning. "You're asking me to rescue the vacation you deliberately excluded me from? It's Christmas, Cole." "Exactly. So here's your Christmas gift, a little thing called consequences." His voice rose. "You're being ridiculous. We're family." That word again. I dropped my tone. "Quick question. Whose idea was it to book a family Christmas without including me?" Silence. "Come on, Evan. Humor me. It wasn't personal." "Sure it was. You made sure there was no room for me. No seat at the table. No space in the house. Until the house vanished." He tried a last Hail Mary. "You're going to regret this." "I doubt it." And then I hung up. 5 minutes later, Marissa texted. "We need to talk." I ignored it. 10 minutes after that. "Do you understand what you've done?" Yes. Yes, I did. I'd finally leveled the playing field. Christmas was cancelled. And the fallout was just beginning. The group chat exploded next. Not just private messages anymore. Full-scale public meltdown. Marissa led with a screenshot of the cancellation email, captioned, "Apparently someone thinks revenge is a holiday theme." My mother chimed in beneath it with, "Cole, this isn't you. You're better than this." Dad sent a thumbs-up emoji, then immediately unsent it. Classic. I didn't reply. Not a single word. I let them spiral. That afternoon, Julian called again. "So, Casa Azul's getting lit up. How bad?" "Tripwire bad. Your sister's posting fake reviews. Claims we're scammers, that we took her money and ruined Christmas." "She's doing this publicly?" "Yup. Full Yelp and TripAdvisor assault. Said the house doesn't even exist. That it's a front for fraud." I chuckled. She booked it. With her husband's work email. Julian laughed too, but it wasn't amused. I flagged everything, sent them our contract, refund confirmation, proof of owner occupancy clause. They pulled the reviews. Flagged her account. Perfect. Oh, and she tried to call the office this morning. Told Janine she needed to speak to the owner. Said it was an emergency. What did Janine say? She told her, the owner is aware of the situation and has made his decision. God bless Janine. Julian paused. Your mom called too. Very different tone. Crying, asking if the owner would reconsider for the sake of family. Said they were all suffering. They weren't too concerned about family when they exiled me to Denver. You want me to keep forwarding these calls? Nope. Just do me one favor. Anything. Update the Casa Azul listing. Full luxury treatment. New photos, sunset shots of the infinity pool, the outdoor kitchen with the lobster tails. Make it look like a Christmas miracle wrapped in stone and glass. You got it. And one more thing. Boost the listing to premium. I want it front and center on the homepage. Top of the search results. Julian gave a low whistle. Petty and tactical. I like it. That night, I watched as my house popped up as the featured listing on the site. Casa Azul, unavailable for the holidays. I poured a drink, settled on the couch, and watched their vacation disappear from beneath them, one 5-star photo at a time. 2 days later, I got the email. Subject line, disappointed in you. Sender, Dad, though the tone screamed Marissa. Cole. Your mother and I are appalled by your behavior. Canceling a family trip out of spite is petty and immature. You're better than this. Marissa is heartbroken. Evan's parents are hurt and confused. We understand you felt excluded, but the house only fits 8, and her in-laws already bought flights. We hoped you'd rise above. We hoped you'd understand. Dad and Mom. I stared at it for a good 30 seconds before I hit reply. Dad. The house sleeps 12. 14 if people share. So the space excuse is garbage. Also, this email was clearly written by Marissa. If you want to talk, try writing your own messages or, I don't know, calling me. Cole. He called an hour later. Cole. Hey, look who figured out how to dial a number. This isn't funny. You're tearing this family apart over a rental house. My rental house. You know what I mean. I do. I mean that the second I was inconvenient, you all happily moved forward without me. Until you needed something. Now suddenly I'm family again? He exhaled, slow and tired. I thought you'd work it out with Marissa. This isn't about working it out. This is about a lifetime of being expected to take the high road while she paved over it with entitlement. We didn't raise you to be vindictive. You raised me to be invisible. There's a difference. That one landed. Silence hung between us like humidity. Finally, he muttered. You've made your point. No, Dad. I'm living my point. There's a difference. He hung up. And just like that, I knew Christmas was about to get worse, for them. Because if there's one thing people like Marissa can't handle, it's when the scapegoat finally stops playing along. They tried everything. Mom called crying. Said she hadn't slept. That. This isn't who we are. Which was hilarious, because it's exactly who they'd always been. They just didn't like seeing it in the mirror. Marissa sent a 7-paragraph text thread that read like a breakup email to a therapist. Claimed I'd traumatized the family, weaponized success, and, my personal favorite, violated the unspoken social contract of siblings. Ricky's parents, whom I never even met in person, apparently called my mom in a frenzy, threatening to sue whoever owns the house for emotional damages. Evan tried to call Julian again. Janine intercepted and started screening calls like it was a national security risk. Then came the third attempt. Janine buzzed my office. Your sister's here. Which one? The one currently making a scene in the lobby. Says it's an emergency. I sighed. Tell her I'm in a meeting. She says she'll wait. Of course she does. I gave it 20 minutes, just to twist the knife a little, then had her sent to conference room B. No pleasantries. No hugs. She looked awful. And by that I mean human. No makeup, hair up in a messy bun, eyes red. Dressed in sweats. It was jarring. Like seeing a celebrity in line at the DMV. I'm not here to fight, she said, voice already cracking. Then why are you here? Because we can't find another place. Everything's booked or $10,000 a week. We called everyone. We even looked at inland properties, and Ricky's parents are talking about canceling Christmas altogether. I said nothing. She leaned forward. Can we just use the house? We'll pay full price. More than full. Name your number. I smiled. Infinity. She flinched. Cole, please. I'm your sister. You're the sister who excluded me from Christmas. The sister who only called after her plan imploded. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're inconvenienced. That's not the same thing. Her face shifted from desperation to something colder. Angrier. You're enjoying this. I'm observing it. You're a child. No, Marissa. I'm a 33-year-old man with boundaries. That's why you're so upset. She stood fast, chair screeching back. Enjoy your house, then. Alone. See if I ever speak to you again. I cocked my head. Promise? She stormed out. Janine peeked in after a minute. Need a drink? I need a vacation. You've earned one. That night I booked my own flight. December 21st. First class. Just me, a good book, and 0 screaming children. Because this year, I wasn't getting kicked out of Christmas. I was reclaiming it. December 21st, I touched down in Cancun under a sky so clear it looked like Photoshop. Walked off the plane, retrieved my single carry-on, because I pack like a pro, and slid into the rental car waiting with my name on a sign. 45 minutes later, I was pulling up to Casa Azul. Julian had outdone himself. The house was pristine. Not just cleaned, polished. Fresh flowers on the counter, welcome note folded in the napkin ring, and my playlist already queued up on the sound system. I cracked a local beer, stepped out onto the back terrace, and watched the sun drop like a gold coin into the sea. No screaming nieces. No passive-aggressive mom sighs. No Evan pretending my house was some good find he stumbled across online. Just me. I swam laps the next morning. Pool temp, 85 degrees. Perfect. Then I made chilaquiles in the kitchen I designed, using the exact blender I'd researched for 3 weeks before ordering from Mexico City. After breakfast, I napped in the hammock that hangs between 2 palms by the deck. At noon, I took the kayak out, paddled past the reef. Found a secluded cove. Saw a sea turtle. Saw my life from above. By evening, I was grilling mahi-mahi on the custom outdoor kitchen I installed with Julian, complete with the rotisserie Evan bragged about, finding, in the listing. As I plated my food, perfectly charred fish, fresh mango salsa, a spritz of lime, I heard my phone buzz. Unknown number. Holiday spirit got the better of me. I picked up. Cole? Mom's voice shaky. Are you really there? I am. Just pulled the fish off the grill. Silence. Then, we're at a Courtyard Marriott. An hour inland. Room smells like cigarettes. Ricky's dad is having chest pains. Marissa won't stop crying. Your father hasn't eaten in 2 days. That's rough. Her voice cracked. This is the worst Christmas of our lives. I took a bite of fish. Perfect. Funny. Because when my birthday got skipped 3 years in a row, you told me I was too busy to notice. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is watching your son fund everyone's comfort, and then act surprised when he finally stops. We've always been there for you. You've always needed me. That's not the same thing. She went quiet. I sipped my drink. Try the waffles at the hotel. They're decent. Then I hung up. I spent Christmas Eve watching the stars, drinking in the silence I'd earned. Alone? Sure. But lonely? Not even a little. Christmas morning, I woke up to the Caribbean sunrise pouring gold across the master suite. No chaos. No screaming kids. No guilt-tripping group texts. Just quiet. I made coffee in the kitchen I designed, French press, single-origin beans I brought from home, and watched pelicans dive fish out past the reef. Around 10 a.m., my phone buzzed. Julian. Merry Christmas, boss. Heads up, your sister called me at 7 a.m., found my personal number somehow. Said she's going to ruin our business, take us down, and alert Mexican tourism. I blocked her. I sent back a laughing emoji. Then, thanks for taking the hit. Drinks on me when I'm back. Another buzz. This time from Marissa herself. She'd unblocked herself using a different number. I hope you're proud of yourself. You destroyed our family over a stupid beach house. I hope your shrimp cocktail chokes you. I didn't reply. Just block that number too. Because nothing ruins a shrimp cocktail like generational entitlement. By noon, I was grilling lunch, grilled octopus and sweet corn, fresh avocado slices, and a chili lime rub that would have made Gordon Ramsay weep. Mid-bite, another call. Dad? I sighed and answered. Merry Christmas. He didn't even say hello. Your sister's marriage is falling apart. I paused. Okay. Ricky's talking divorce. Says this whole thing made him realize she's unstable. He's moving out when they get back to Denver. I blinked. Wow. Tragic. You're telling me this why exactly? Because you need to know what you've done. Oh, what I've done? You've split up the family. No, Dad. I just stopped pretending everything was fine. You all made your choice when you cut me out of Christmas. I just enforced it. This is your sister's life imploding. No, this is her finally dealing with the consequences of treating people like props in her own little holiday special. He was quiet for a beat. We never wanted this. You wanted me quiet, compliant, and conveniently generous. That version of me? He's gone. I hung up. Then I went for a swim. That night, I lit candles around the pool, grilled a ribeye, and watched fireworks burst like champagne across the coast. The only sound louder than the surf? Peace. The week after Christmas felt like waking up from a decade-long fever dream. I dove the reefs. Explored ancient ruins I'd never made time for. Ate at a restaurant that served 5-course tasting menus under the stars. I didn't think about my family once, until Julian called, laughing so hard he could barely get the words out. Dude! You're not gonna believe this. Hit me. Marissa's trying to nuke our Yelp page. Posted like 6 reviews under different names. Claimed the house doesn't exist. Said we're real estate scammers with fake listings and emotional vendettas. Creative. I said. Yeah. I reported them all. Yelp pulled everyone. Banned her account. She's blacklisted from reviewing anything now. Even posted a warning on her profile. I grinned. Beautiful. That's not all. Ricky's parents filed a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. Against me? Against the property. Said we stole their money, lied about amenities, caused psychological distress. What did the BBB say? We sent the refund receipt, the signed contract, the occupancy clause, the whole folder. Case closed in 30 minutes. Labeled it a personal dispute. Their appeal was rejected. I'm framing that email. Oh, and your parents? Called the office. Tried to negotiate. Excuse me? Said if we let them book Casa Azul for Easter, they'd pay triple the normal rate. I burst out laughing. Triple? They're desperate. Apparently they promised Ricky's parents a makeup trip and can't afford to break that promise. What did you tell them? Told them we would book solid through next year. Are we? We are now. That same week, I closed on a San Diego duplex. 2 units, 1 full renovation, 1 light cosmetic. Spent the weekend meeting contractors, sketching layouts, calculating ROI. I wasn't just winning. I was building. One of my hedge fund clients called to say he wanted to diversify: real estate, commercial holdings, residential flips. I walked him through 4 properties. He bought 3. Commission alone covered my entire Cancun trip. Twice. I was thriving. They were unraveling. And for the first time in my adult life, I didn't feel guilty about it. Because here's the thing about people who weaponize guilt: the second it stops working, they have nothing left but noise. And I'd found the mute button. February rolled in, and with it came something I wasn't expecting: an email from my mom. No Marissa filter this time. No joint statement nonsense. It was her tone, her voice, unmistakably hers. Subject: I'm sorry. Cole. I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if you'll care. But I need to try. Your father and I have been talking a lot. Really talking. About how we raised you and Marissa. About how we let her needs, her drama, take up all the space. We thought you didn't need us. That because you were successful, you were fine. We never saw how we were hurting you by treating your stability like immunity. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I hope someday you'll be ready to talk. Love. Mom. I read it 3 times. The first time I rolled my eyes. The second time I blinked a little too long. The third time I sat down. I didn't reply right away. Let it sit. A few days later, Dad followed up with his own. Short. More direct. Which, for him, meant it had real weight. Your mother's right. We failed to show up for you because we thought your success meant you didn't need us. That was a mistake. I'm proud of you. Always was. Just didn't say it enough. Trying to be better. Hope we get the chance. I sat with that one longer. Then I wrote back. Thanks for saying that. I'm not ready to talk. But I appreciate the honesty. No heart emoji. No signature. Just truth. March came, and with it a Venmo request from Marissa. $4,680. The exact amount of the rental. Note: paying you back for the deposit. Not because I think I owe you, but because I can't stand owing you anything. I stared at it, hit accept, and immediately sent it back. Note: keep it. Consider it a lesson fee. No response. 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered out of curiosity. Before you hang up, the voice said quickly. I'm not calling to argue. It was Evan. Then why are you calling? To apologize. I raised an eyebrow and muted my monitor. For not questioning Marissa when she suggested the whole thing. For going along with excluding you. For calling you names after. For the entitlement. I said nothing. We're getting divorced. Should have happened a long time ago. This just sped it up. Honestly? That whole Christmas mess just forced us to look at the wreck we've been ignoring. He paused. I looked up the house again. It really is beautiful. What you built? It's next level. I'm sorry we tried to steal it instead of respecting what it meant to you. I let the silence stretch. Then, thanks, Evan. Good luck with everything. And I meant it. Because not all growth is fireworks. Some of it is finally hearing the apology you were sure you'd never get. April brought something I didn't think I'd ever see, a physical letter from Marissa. Not an email. Not a text. Not a 3-paragraph guilt grenade disguised as an update. An actual paper letter, written in her handwriting, sharp, slanted, a little too perfect like always. But the words? They weren't what I expected. Cole. I spent the first 4 months after Christmas furious. At you. At myself. At everyone. I told myself you were cruel, heartless, unforgiving. Then Ricky left. My job performance tanked. I couldn't focus. I was snapping at coworkers. I ghosted friends. One of them finally said, maybe your brother was the only one willing to tell you the truth. And I realized, none of this started with you. I excluded you because I was jealous. Because seeing you during the holidays made me feel like a failure. You didn't do that to me. I did. And instead of dealing with it, I tried to push you out of the picture and steal what you built. I used Mom and Dad's enabling like a shield. I used lies about the house capacity like armor. But the truth is simple, I hurt you. And I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I probably don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know I finally understand what I did. I sat with the letter for a long time. Didn't cry. Didn't rage. Just exhaled. Like a pressure valve had finally clicked open after years of slow, silent buildup. I didn't write back. Not out of pettiness. Out of peace. Because I realized something. Closure doesn't always need a conversation. Sometimes, it's enough just to know they finally saw the truth, and said it out loud. May came fast. Business was booming. I closed on 2 new properties. The Phoenix Industrial Complex I'd been eyeing since January finally passed inspection. The renovation plan was aggressive, 6 months of hard labor, but the projections were solid. High 6-figure return. Julian and I had lunch near the marina. We talked numbers. Then he paused over his tacos and said, So, Christmas this year? I smiled. Yeah? Are we blocking off Casa Azul again? You, solo ocean vibes steak for one? I leaned back. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel the need to protect something. Nope. We open it up. Let it book. Julian blinked. Seriously? I proved my point. No need to keep proving it. Let's make someone else's Christmas perfect. He grinned. Growth looks good on you. I nodded. It really does. Summer slipped in like a silent wind. Smooth deals. Solid tenants. 1 duplex rented before the paint even dried. Cash flow better than projections. Analysts humming along without constant hand-holding. I built the machine, and now it ran without smoke. And then came something I hadn't planned for. Peace. Real peace. Not the forced, bite-your-tongue kind you get at family gatherings. I mean the quiet confidence that seeps into your bones when you realize you don't owe anyone explanations for existing. In July, I reopened the Casa Azul Christmas calendar, and watched it book within 48 hours. A family from New York. Polite emails. Respectful tone. Paid the full rate, asked for extra pool towels, and said they were excited to make memories. Imagine that, people using the house without trying to colonize it. Then came another unexpected email, this time from Dad. Subject, a question, not pressure. Cole. Your mother and I have been doing counseling. Real counseling. Not just lip service. It's made us look at a lot of things. Not just what happened last Christmas, but how often we turned you into the stable son so we could ignore how unstable the rest of the family was. We're not asking for forgiveness, but we'd like a chance. So I'm asking. If you ever feel ready to share a meal, no speeches, no sides, no expectations, your mother and I would like that. You don't owe us anything. But we're here if you're willing. Dad. I didn't respond right away. But I did think about it. About a version of this story that didn't end with everyone scorched and me holding the last unburned match. A few weeks later I called. Question for you, I said when Mom answered. Okay, she said, cautious. I'm going to Cancun this year. Taking the house for Christmas. Silence. Then, okay. I'm inviting people who've earned it. That includes you and Dad. If you want to come, you can. I could hear her breathing. Waiting. But, I continued, it comes with conditions. Anything. 1. You cover your own travel. 2. You stay in the guest wing. Not the master. 3. If you try to bring up Marissa, defend her behavior, or pressure me into forgiveness before I'm ready, you're out. No drama. No discussion. Another beat of silence. Understood, she said. And thank you. You're invited. Details coming next month. I hung up and realized something wild. I actually felt good. Not in control. Not victorious. Just whole. I had set a boundary. And it held. September came in like clockwork. Spreadsheets. Closings. A new hire I actually liked. My Phoenix contractor texted mid-demo. You were right about this layout, flows like butter. That's the kind of message that hits like a bonus check. Meanwhile, Christmas prep was quietly gaining momentum. Elio and I sat down to plan it out, me, Mom, Dad, a few trusted friends. No wild cards. No drama seeds. Just people who understood how respect works. So, he asked over coffee. Who else is on the invite list? I was thinking the Cardenas. Your San Diego duplex clients? Yeah. Bought the place on my advice, doubled their equity, sent me a handwritten thank you note. They're good people. Elio nodded. They'll vibe. I added in a gym couple I'd gotten close with over the year, one of them a personal trainer, the other a pastry chef. Married, chill, smart, no hidden chaos. And they had a toddler. Which I weirdly didn't mind. A baby's chaos is different from grown adult chaos. Honest chaos. October hit, and I sent out the official invites. Mom replied in 11 minutes. Confirmed travel, asked if the guest wing had blackout curtains. It did. The Cardenas sent a heartfelt RSVP with a note. We're honored. Thank you for including us in something so personal. The gym couple responded with all caps. We're already packing cookies. Tell us if you're allergic to joy. It felt good. Clean. Earned. Then, the unexpected, a text from Marissa. Heard about Christmas. Mom said I'm not invited. I get it. For what it's worth. I hope you have an amazing time. You deserve it. No manipulation. No backdoor plea. Just 7 sentences that were maybe the most emotionally mature thing she's ever written. I stared at it. Typed. Thanks. Maybe next year if things change. I left it at that. Not a door. Not a wall. A crack. On December 20th, we all landed. Casa Azul was radiant. Sunlit, humming, fully stocked, and for the first time in its history, occupied entirely by people who didn't owe each other anything but showed up anyway. Christmas Eve dinner was magic. I grilled the seafood myself. Lobster, shrimp, grilled corn. Everyone brought something. The Cardenas brought a bottle of sparkling cider they'd saved for a milestone moment. The gym couple unpacked a literal suitcase full of cookies. Mom made her famous potato salad, the only thing she ever cooked consistently well. We ate on the terrace as the sun slipped into the sea. No phones. No passive-aggressive digs. No one storming off or crying in the guest room. Just laughter. Stories. Actual peace. After dessert, Dad pulled me aside while everyone went inside to help clean. This is incredible. he said quietly, motioning to the house, the people, the feeling. You built this. All of it. I nodded. I'm sorry it took losing you last year for us to see it. You didn't lose me, I said, looking him in the eye. You lost the version of me that let himself be minimized. He took a deep breath. Nodded slowly. And that version needed to go. We stood there together, watching waves break in the distance. The man I used to want approval from was finally seeing me clearly. And I wasn't the one who had to shrink anymore. The rest of that Christmas week? Flawless. Mom and Dad settled into the guest wing like pros. No guilt trips. No tension. Mom even offered to help prep meals but actually asked first, unheard of behavior for a woman who used to rearrange my spice rack. Just to help. Dad took morning walks along the beach. He got into the habit of pointing at passing boats and giving them fictional names like the passive aggressor or the holiday mistake. I laughed more that week than I had all year. Everyone respected the space. Everyone brought something to the table: food, wine, conversation, effort. The gym couple's baby screamed exactly once, and everyone stopped what they were doing to cheer when she settled herself back down with a cookie. We toasted small wins, not big gestures. We didn't take group selfies. We didn't stage anything for Instagram. It was, honestly, the first Christmas I'd ever had that felt like a break, not a performance. New Year's Eve, we all gathered on the beach in front of the house. The Cardenas passed around sparklers. The toddler was asleep in her dad's arms, exhausted from a full day of swimming and stealing scallops. Elio raised his glass of something non-alcoholic and said, "To Cole, for building paradise and only inviting people who don't try to take it from him." Laughter. Mom clinked her glass against mine. "I'm proud of you," she said softly. Dad added, "Here's to second chances. Earned, not assumed." We toasted as fireworks lit the sky up and down the coast. I stood there with a drink in one hand and nothing heavy in the other. No bitterness. No family pressure. No exhaustion from being the one who always fixes it. Just sand, firelight, and real connection. At midnight, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Marissa. One text. Asterisk Happy New Year. Really mean it this time. Asterisk. I stared at it for a while. Smiled. Didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, out of calm. Because sometimes peace isn't replying. It's knowing you could, but don't need to. Mid-January, I was back in the groove: contracts, inspections, late-night spreadsheets, and morning runs with just enough mist in the air to make me feel cinematic. Casa Azul was booked solid through April. All 5-star reviews. One family sent Julian a thank you basket that included handmade coasters shaped like tiny hammocks. Another mailed a postcard addressed simply to the owner of paradise. I pinned it to my corkboard. Business-wise? Smooth. Personally? Quieter than ever. And then, one Tuesday morning, I saw her name pop up in my inbox again. Marissa. No subject line. No bolded drama. Just a short message. Asterisk Cole. I know we're not there yet. Maybe never will be. But I wanted to say this: I'm starting therapy. Not for you. Not for damage control. For me. Because it's time I stopped turning my mess into everyone else's problem. You were right to walk away. I'm still working on being someone worth walking toward. Asterisk. That one hit different. Not because it erased anything. But because, for the first time, she wasn't asking me to fix her wreckage. She was finally trying to clean it up herself. I didn't reply. I archived the message. But I didn't delete it. And that, for me, was progress. 2 days later, Dad texted. Any interest in grabbing lunch next week? No pressure. No speeches. Just lunch. I stared at it. Then sent back. Sure. You pick the place. No buffets. I have standards now. He replied with a thumbs up. Then immediately followed it with, actually, how do you feel about Thai? I smiled. Small moves. Real ones. That weekend, I took a solo hike up along the coast. Same trail I used to walk when I was barely keeping it together, when I thought peace came from fixing everyone else. Now, I walked it slower. No phone. No self-doubt. Just me. No longer the guy begging for a seat at the table. I built the table. And only people who bring something real get a plate. By early February, something weird started happening. People, family people, stopped avoiding the subject of last Christmas. Not to attack. Not to guilt, but to ask. Cousin Lex called out of nowhere. We hadn't spoken in years, mostly because she lived inside Marissa's echo chamber. Hey, she said. Quick question, what really happened last year? I didn't launch into a monologue. I just said, they booked my house behind my back, excluded me from the family trip, and didn't think I'd notice. Long silence. Then she muttered, yeah, that tracks. Apparently, Marissa had tried to run her version of the story past Lex a few weeks earlier, complete with phrases like cold-hearted betrayal and my brother's weird control issues. Lex hadn't bought it. Honestly, she said, I think you scared her more by saying nothing than if you'd lit her up in the group chat. I wasn't trying to scare anyone. No, she said, but you finally stopped playing your part. I hung up that night feeling lighter. Because that's the thing about toxic family roles, they only survive when everyone sticks to the script. And I torched mine. 2 weeks later, I grabbed that lunch with Dad. A quiet Thai place. No fanfare. We didn't talk about the house. We talked about fishing. About how he hated the way his knees creaked on cold mornings. About the contractor who once tried to convince him that mold was a cosmetic issue. He looked older. Softer. Like someone who'd finally let go of the lie that holding everything together meant staying blind. After the check came, he hesitated. Then said, when you were a kid, we leaned on you too hard. Made your reliability an excuse. I said nothing. He nodded, more to himself than to me. Thank you, he added, for still letting us in, on your terms. That was all. And it was enough. Later that night, I stood in my apartment looking at the corkboard above my desk. The photos. The emails. The tiny postcard that still said owner of paradise. And I thought, damn right. I didn't burn bridges. I just stopped lighting the way for people who never planned to meet me halfway. March was calm. I didn't trust it at first. No emergencies. No family landmines. No shady booking requests trying to sneak past Julian under. Cousin of the owner. Aliases. Just work. Gym. Ocean. Progress. The Phoenix Industrial Project was ahead of schedule. My analysts were finally working like an actual team instead of a group chat with spreadsheets. The San Diego duplex? Pulled in its first passive income stream with zero tenant drama. Life was, dare I say it, balanced. So of course that's when Marissa texted again. I won't keep bugging you. But I wanted to tell you something. I said no to something today. Someone asked to use me to get something they hadn't earned. And for the first time in my life, I said no, without guilt. I stared at the message. Then typed. Feels good, doesn't it? She replied. Like I finally grew a backbone. Yours must be solid titanium. I didn't push further. Didn't ask who or what or why. Didn't need to. It wasn't about the story. It was about the shift. She was starting to realize what I had learned the hard way. Boundaries aren't barriers. They're blueprints for peace. A week later, I was back in Cancun for a weekend site visit. A different property, new listing, potential rental. Not Casa Azul. Still, I stopped by the old place. The family who had booked it for spring break. They were on the terrace. Kids in the pool. Music playing low. The dad waved at me like I was the groundskeeper. I waved back. I didn't correct him. Didn't need to say, I built this. Didn't need to remind anyone it was mine. Because the reward wasn't recognition anymore. It was watching what I created work without me in it. That night, Julian and I had dinner at a tiny seafood spot tucked off the tourist trail. Fresh snapper. No menu. Just a smile and a chalkboard. Think you'll ever open it up for Christmas again? He asked. Maybe, I said. But not just for anyone. He raised an eyebrow. Still holding the line? No, I said. I've just raised the bar. He grinned. As you should. I clinked my glass against his and said, here's to no more negotiating with people who think love means access. Because if I've learned anything, it's this. Love doesn't mean free reign. Love means earned space. And I finally have room to breathe. December came again. Casa Azul was booked for Christmas, but this time by me. Not out of protection. Not out of pettiness. Just because I wanted to spend it my way. I brought the right people. Friends who'd stood by me, colleagues who'd earned trust, even my parents, now guests, not authorities. They stayed in the guest wing. Paid their own way. Respected the lines. There were no grand speeches. No tension. Just food, laughter, and a sunset that painted the whole sky like it forgave us. As fireworks cracked over the water, I stood on the beach, drink in hand, toes in the sand. I thought about everything I'd lost. And realized, I hadn't lost anything. I cleared space. Cleared space for peace. For purpose. For people who understand that love isn't free. It's earned. Marissa never texted that week. But I know she saw the photos. And maybe, for once, she didn't feel entitled to them. Just curious. Just quiet. Just learning. That's enough for now.